Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going over the Thanksgiving and Black Friday football games for NFL Week 13. This on another episode of So, 4 games have gone by for Week 13, and honestly, they've all been pretty crazy and a lot of fun to watch. So, let's go through them as they happened. First, we got the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. This was a great game. This is probably the most fun one to watch for most of NFL fans that aren't Cowboys or Chiefs fans, but it was the second best game in terms of how close it was. The Lions, they had a decent chance of winning this game, probably for a good bit of it, and what got them into a lot of troubles when they got behind the Packers. They basically started going for it in fourth down instead of taking field goals, and instead of being behind by one score, they started to slowly fall further behind, and then it became quite unwinnable. You can thank Dan Campbell for that, Lions fans, because it was a bit avoidable. But Jordan Love had a great game, threw 4 touchdowns. The Packers' offense looked great. Their defense, honestly, very good. The Lions' offense struggled partially because of the Amon-Ra injury, which was devastating, but they eventually got over that. But the other issue that existed the entire game was their O-line. Micah Parsons repeatedly introduced himself to Jared Goff, and unfortunately the Lions were not able to really fix that issue. And unfortunately for the Lions, they lost to the Packers here, and that's going to make their playoff hunt a little bit harder, especially with the Bears winning on Friday. So, moving on, the second game of the day was Cowboys and Chiefs, and this one was wild. This was a close game. It was a very good game. Honestly, the Chiefs seemed like they were going to win for a good bit of it, but the Cowboys pulled it out. And with the final score of 31-28, you couldn't ask for much closer. And honestly, what made this game so much fun was the Cowboys' offense. They were able to go blow for blow with Mahomes. Eventually, they got ahead of them after the Chiefs stalled out a few times. It was great by the Cowboys, especially considering their first drive, they threw an interception, they recovered, and they put up enough points to win. Now, another thing to talk about with this is, are the Cowboys legit or are they fraud? Because now they've beat both the Eagles and Chiefs, which I don't think is the most monumental task of this season to do, but it raises the question, are they legit? Can they make a push for playoff berth? Which at this point could even be an NFC East title if the Eagles continue to implode, but more than likely it'll be a wild card spot. And I'd say yes. Their offense is good enough to win them shootout games. Their defense looks improved over a few weeks ago, earlier this season, thanks to the trades they made at the deadline. It seems like the Cowboys are a wild card contender now. Now, of course, there's a bunch of good teams that stand in the way of that, currently being the Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers, and the Green Bay Packers. But I feel like Dallas can do it. They have the schedule to do it. They have the talented roster to do it. I think they can be a legit wild card contender, if not just winning their division outright. Moving on to the night game of Thanksgiving, the Bengals taking on the Ravens. First off, Ravens, what are you doing? You imploded very badly. You only put up 14 points the whole night. The Bengals, in Joe Burrow's return, played amazing. Not just their offense. Their defense got so many turnovers, I'm surprised they didn't win by more. How many turnovers, you ask? Well, there were 4 fumbles and 1 interception, which, come on, Ravens. Seriously? That defense is one of the worst, if not the worst, unit in the entire NFL, and they destroyed the Ravens offense. Joe Burrow, in his return, looked pretty good. He didn't have to look good, but he did. Now, the biggest implication of this is the AFC North race. Obviously, the Bengals have to win out to get it. The Ravens had the lead over the Steelers for the briefest possible amount of time, and now they're back behind the Steelers, and the Steelers don't look too excited to win it themselves. One of these teams, maybe the Browns, maybe the Bengals, maybe the Steelers or Ravens, will win the AFC North and host a playoff game against probably like the Jaguars, Bills, Chargers maybe. It doesn't really matter who, because I guarantee you whoever hosts out of this division will lose. They all look bad. They all look bad to mediocre. It's not good right now. One of them needs to step up their game. I thought that would be the Steelers, but they started off hot, and now they look like they are ready to throw themselves into the Allegheny. The Ravens started out pretty trash because of Lamar Jackson's injury, and then they got better when he came back, and they've regressed to losing to the Bengals, a 3-win team. So with the AFC North now officially wide open, we move to the last game and that game is Eagles-Bears. Good job, Philly. You've managed to surprise me. Because I honestly thought you could lose to the Bears, but I thought it'd be a closer game. Yes, towards the end you pulled it back a little bit, but what were you doing on defense? Because the one thing that this Eagles team supposedly had going for it was defense. And then the Bears brought in their running backs and their O-line, and they just ran for over 200 yards on you, with the two running backs both getting 100 apiece in Swift and Monangai. It's amazing that that's how the Bears performed offense against the Eagles. And what are you doing, Philly? Their offense was bad as usual. Nothing's really changed there. Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni are performing a masterclass at being the dumbest bricks in Philly right now. And they still don't comprehend how to run an offense effectively, which maybe part of it's on Jalen Hurts too, but what are you doing? This offense functioned perfectly last year. All the pieces are still there, Philly. How do you take that team from last year, bring it to this year, mess it all up, and then not immediately upon seeing your mistake, revert back? Don't know. Honestly, maybe when their coordinator from last year left, he stole all the playbooks, and that took him with him. That might be the only explanation. Kellen Moore might have stolen all the Eagles' playbooks and offensive material, took them to New Orleans with him, left the Eagles nothing. And then the Eagles had to figure it out from scratch because Nick Sirianni doesn't remember the playbooks from last year because he's actually as dumb as a brick. That might be the explanation. Because outside of that, there's no way that this is the same, that anything they're doing this year is remotely similar. And the other question that's come out of this game is, are the Bears legit? I mean, I think they are now. They beat the Eagles. They have a 9-3 record. They have a winning season. They could lose out. They're 9-8. They still have a winning season, which is a big improvement over last year. And the best part is for the Bears, they have a serious shot to win their division. The Eagles were one of the hardest tests remaining on their schedule. Obviously, they got a bunch of division games. But if they handled the Eagles, and the Eagles handled the Packers, and the Eagles handled the Lions, I don't see why they couldn't beat those other teams. Because the Bears on offense look legit. The Bears on defense look legit. The Bears get a lot of turnovers. The Bears have a great run game. Their pass game is good enough that it's not an issue. Honestly, Ben Johnson has Caleb Williams playing just good enough where I think they can make the playoffs as the NFC North champion. So with that being said, guys, please like, share, subscribe down below, comment what you think, and I'll see you next time.